only on Financial News and Talk. Now live in studio, your host, local and national real estate expert and consumer advocate, Ron Siegel.
And hello again. Welcome to Ron Siegel Radio. This is the show with no real boundaries as we discuss current events, financial markets, politics, sports, even poking fun at the rest of the media. This is the show that connects the dots of confusion delivered by conflicting media reports. We connect the dots so you know the actions you can take, how your family or business can benefit from current events. Most of all, thank you for joining me. Within every market, there are solutions as well as tremendous opportunities. You just need some trusted guidance. That's my message. I deliver it every day. We have a very focused show. We only chat about items that affect the roof over your head, your bank account, and anything that I feel would benefit you. And let me remind you, if you ever have any home or finance-related questions, I am the consumer advocate looking out for you, and you can reach out to me directly at 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, or ronsiegelradio.com. Just remember, that's the number you call anytime for assistance. When you call that number, it comes directly to me first. There are no operators standing by. I am it.
Quiet, numbskulls. I'm broadcasting.
While I do have a great team when it comes to developing a financing plan or plan to save you money, I personally work with you. Even if you don't have any needs today, save this number in your phone for future reference, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. And, of course, we are celebrating today. No, we're not going to celebrate anything to do with the Academy Awards.
You're absolutely useless.
Yeah, that was a little bit fun last night. I kind of guessed that it would be a bit useless. But today is National Kahlua Day. Mix that with a little bit of cream. Maybe put it in your coffee. National Strawberry Day. We'll go either way. Can handle either one of those for you. Just depends on the time of day. Taking a look at the markets right now. Dow Jones Industrial Average treading water a little bit today. Down 13.91 points, 20,808. Nearly $3 trillion in accumulated wealth has been built in America since the election of Donald Trump. $3 trillion. But no, the lame street media, they won't talk about that. They'd rather talk about fake news, continuing that same propaganda mission. Oil up 26 cents a barrel. And the U.S. 10-year Treasury, 2.337 is that yield, up ever so slightly, 2.337. Seeing some good news in the mortgage market interest rates lately, but we'll talk about that in a little bit. January durable goods orders rose 1.8% from December, matching the consensus, excluding the volatile transportation component. However, the results fell short of those expectations when you take that transportation out. Just a thought there for you. Keep that in mind. Did you watch the Academy Awards? That's the question last night. Did you watch the Academy Awards? Did you catch that blunder at the end? I love watching these Hollywood haters and hypocrites. Yeah, that's right. I call them the Hollywood haters and Hollywood haters and hypocrites. That's what you might as well refer to them as. Just because, think about this. I saw an article just recently. Hollywood is excited about getting a $300, and they're talking about how great the $330 million benefit package they got from the state of California. $330 million tax incentive. Otherwise, they were going to leave California. Well, I'm the one person that probably wishes they would leave. $330 million in film incentives, and they say, oh, that's working as expected. No kidding. Maybe if we got the loon mayor of Anaheim to think about this one, he'd realize that incentives do work. You can't force people to do what they're not going to do. But $330 million, and they're saying, something, we need more. If we got $500 million, we might even be able to do more than with $330 million. I'm saying, let's see them leave. I wonder what would happen if they left the state of California. Do you think anybody would notice? Would anybody care? Maybe just a few other liberals that are in the same boat as them. but probably for the most part, nobody's going to give a hoot whether Meryl Streep and Mel Gibson leave the state of California. Just couldn't care less. But maybe there are some people over at the accounting firm. They might not be too excited. Maybe they'd be happy. Who was it, Deloitte & Touche, that was responsible for getting it wrong as to who was going to be collecting on that best film award? Unbelievable. Now, we just saw Steve Harvey. You know, he's a comedian. He has a good time. But you're thinking about this one. The Oscars, they claim it's the biggest event of their year for the Hollywood haters and hypocrites. The Academy of Motion Pictures, Arts and Science, unbelievable. All they knew how to do, all they could probably figure out how to do was make fun of Donald Trump. I wonder how many of them are invested in the stock market, getting that part of their $3 trillion in wealth. Certainly glad that Meryl Streep did not win for her. Maybe we might have heard another Golden Globe type speech. Glad that she was on the outside. But it was funny listening to Kimmel asking if she was wearing an Ivanka Trump outfit. I looked at some of those outfits last night. To me, most of them, or many of them, looked like they might have come from Coleman. You know, the sporting goods firm? Holy cow, I've never seen so many ugly dresses in my life. Now, generally, I'm the first to admit, the only part of the Academy Awards that I ever care about is the silicone and Botox display at the very beginning. That's usually somewhat palatable. But holy cow, the rest of it was, this time, there was maybe 10%, 20% of the dresses were anything worth, or the actresses were worth looking at. Again, I think they must have gone to Coleman to get their outfits or their wardrobes last night. Personal opinion. VA's back in the news again, showing a low rate of discipline for drug loss and theft. So if you need new drugs, just talk to somebody that works at the Veterans Administration. They don't take care of the veterans, but they do have a streamline for getting drugs, is apparently what they're saying. 372 VA employees were disciplined for a drug or alcohol-related issue across a network of 160 medical centers and 1,000 clinics over the last 6 years, according to internal figures kept by the facilities that were reported to VA's headquarters. 372 employees. I wonder how many of them lost their jobs. My guess, probably none. During that time, there were more than 11,000 reported incidents of drug loss or theft at federal hospitals, the vast majority within the VA, according to law enforcement data. Roughly translated, VA employees were disciplined in 3% of the cases. Nearly one-third of the disciplined employees were dismissed or forced to resign, according to VA data. Others were suspended without pay, admonished, or given, quote-unquote, last chance warnings. Disciplined employees had failed a drug test or were suspected of stealing drugs, among other offenses. Unbelievable.
Absolutely useless.
And we continue to have the problems at the Veterans Administration. I wonder if we get rid of the Public Employees Union. Let them worry about wages, yeah, but if they're dealing with some of these other issues, might pose a bit of a conflict of interest. Appeals court justices skeptical of the Anaheim School District litigation. Think about that one. The parents want a charter school there, but the Anaheim Elementary School District, they're litigating. They don't want to move it toward a charter school. Why would they want parents to have a say in what goes on with their kids? Why would they want parents to have a say in getting the better education for their young students? Just a thought right there. Maybe if we go to the voucher system and stop hampering, stop hindering, stop the racism against the working class of America, might find out it's a little bit better. Now, I'm not very optimistic when you think about the state of California, and as liberal as this state is, liking to control everything about everybody, I don't have a lot of optimism that we're going to be able to benefit the kids in this state. That's not what this state is all about. This state is about the unions controlling everything, and who cares what's in the best interest of the kids, what's in the best interest of the schools. If we cared about that, if the hypocrite and hater party, yes, that's the Democrat Party, the hypocrites and haters, if that party cared about the working America, then we wouldn't see some of these issues going on. They would say, you know something, let's give vouchers out. Let's let the parents decide what is the best education for their children. Think about that concept. Now, the rich and the famous, they can go to whatever school they want. The haters and the hypocrites, they put their kids into the private schools, into charter schools, but they say to the working Americans, no, you got to go to public school. We're going to control what your kids understand, what your kids learn. Listening to a great book over the weekend and talking about this concept of the first step of controlling society is controlling healthcare and education. So think about that. They're controlling what the kids learn. Now, we could control, like the 93% of the upper education, the higher education, colleges, universities, is liberal. They don't even allow Republicans in. Now, think about this. President Obama nationalized student loans. So the government controls the student loan process. What would happen if the government decided that if a school is not mixed, if they're segregated the way it is right now, no more student loans to that school for that school's purpose? Just a thought right there. Think about that. Where's that one heading? Amazing. And watching the fake news and the loony mayor of Anaheim talking one more time. You can't make this stuff up with Anaheim's mayor out there leading the charge against the police officers. This time not necessarily in the city of Anaheim. It's a resident of Anaheim rushing to judgment in the incident between the Anaheim homeowner and an off-duty police officer and a group of teenagers that surrounded him. Yeah, what's the police officer supposed to do? His name is Kevin Ferguson, an LAPD officer, 13-year-old, and he got into an altercation with about 24 teenagers that were on his property. Now, I know a lot of law enforcement officers, many law enforcement officers carry a weapon with them when they're off duty. They're allowed to, by law, a concealed weapon. Now, if this gentleman is surrounded by numerous individuals, youth, teenagers, do you think there's an opportunity that they might have gotten a hold of his weapon if he allowed that to escalate to that level? Yeah, but the people don't want to listen to that. I listened to the mother the other day talking about, we're hurting our kids. Talk about a useless mother.
You're absolutely useless.
Where is she reprimanding her child and saying, you know something, that's somebody else's property, you shouldn't have been there? Why isn't she talking about that? Why isn't she talking about the lack of respect from her child? Think about that concept. Well, we won't hear about that at all, will we? Unbelievable. Pediatricians are in the news right now talking about today's marijuana is stronger and more risky. An influential doctors group is beefing up warnings about marijuana's potential harms for teens amid increasingly lax laws and attitudes on pot use. Many parents use the drug and think it's okay for their kids, but we would rather not mess around with the developing brain, said Dr. Seth Ammerman. The advice comes in a new report from the American Academy of Pediatrics, published Monday in Pediatrics. The group opposes medical and recreational marijuana use for kids. It says emphasizing that message is important because most states have legalized medical use for adults, and many have decriminalized or legalized adults' recreational use. Why is that? I wonder why. They're allowing it. It's against the law federally, yet the states are again contradicting instead of going and saying, let's see if we can change the law in a legal manner. Just a thought there. Maybe there's a different issue. Maybe it's not good for the kids. Maybe they want to find that out. Moving right along this morning. Talking about the stock market. Down 11 points today, $3 trillion in wealth created. Think about this one. Whose side are you on when it comes to Apple stock? Well, Al Gore sold more than $37 million in Apple stock in February, about half of his holdings, according to CNBC. But at the same time, Warren Buffett boosted his stake to $17 billion and says the market is not a bubble. Warren Buffett, chairman and chief executive of Berkshire Hathaway, told CNBC on Monday that his conglomerate had purchased about 120 million shares of Apple in 2017, and the U.S. stocks were not in bubble territory. Again, according to Buffett, Apple strikes me as having quite a sticky product. And he said Berkshire's stake at 133 million shares was worth about $17 billion and amounted to Berkshire's second biggest holding. Think about all of that. So who do you believe? Warren Buffett or Al Gore? Which side of this do you come out on? We'll talk more about it when we come back. You're listening to Ron Siegel Radio, discussing your real estate, current events, and the financial markets. We'll also talk about where are home prices heading in the next 5 years, ways to improve your credit score. 2/3 of Americans aren't putting money into their 401k. And if you got your home with a down payment assistance program, have you modified the rate yet? We'll talk about it. Remember, you can reach me anytime. Off-air number 800-306-1990. 800-306-1990 or RonSiegelRadio.com. We'll be back in just a few.
In the middle of a street, a house.
Are you earning a safe, secure 10+% return on your investments? Is your credit score over 800? Are you living in the home of your dreams or simply where you think you can afford? If the answer to any of these questions is no, what are you doing about it? Text ATP to 79564. Complete a 3-minute complimentary survey and the area trusted professionals of Ron Siegel Radio will reach out to you to develop a success strategy for you. Again, all you need to do is text ATP to 79564.
What if your family business could help clothe a less fortunate family? Or your restaurant could feed truly hungry people? What if you could help to comfort the lonely? Plant sustainable resources where nothing has ever grown before? Or make a child's lifelong wish come true? What if all you had to do was simply do nothing more than what your business already does every day? Would you do it? Introducing Processing for a Cause, a unique program that turns a percentage of your business's credit card volume into ongoing donation dollars for nonprofit organizations and foundations. Simply switch your credit card processing provider to Processing for a Cause and begin supporting a worthy cause today. The process is simple, and the cause will change lives forever. Processing for a Cause.
Are you a veteran, own a home, and need money? The Siegel Lending Team is here to help veterans refinance and get the money they need. The VA 100 lets you borrow up to 100% of your home's value, refinance your mortgages, consolidate credit cards, and lower your payments by an average of $700 a month. And the Siegel Lending Team knows that character means more than a credit score. Call 800-306-1990. That's 800-306-1990. Rate subject to change without notice. Licensed by the California Department of Corporations, NMLS 21037, and DRE number 018694452.
Are you a veteran, police officer, firefighter, doctor, nurse, or teacher? If so, you qualify as one of Ron Siegel's VIP heroes, and we have rewards up to $5,000 or $10,000 when you buy, sell, or refinance a home with one of the Ron Siegel Radio partners. As one of the heroes, real estate agents will rebate part of their commission. Lending partners will give a credit at closing. The title company has special published rates, and many other service providers have incentives too. All you need to do is call Ron Siegel Radio at 1-800-306-1990. That's 1-800-306-1990. Or visit VIPHeroProgram.com. Just think about what you will do with all the rebates and incentives from the partners of Ron Siegel Radio. Just call us at 800-306-1990 so we can show you our appreciation for your service.
You're listening to Ron Siegel's Home and Finance Show with local and national expert Ron Siegel. Now, here's Ron.
Welcome back to Ron Siegel Radio. Within every market, there are solutions as well as tremendous opportunities. You just need some trusted guidance. That's my message, and as your consumer advocate, I will be delivering it every day on Ron Siegel Radio or anytime at 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. The real-time real estate segment today being brought to you by the area-trusted real estate professionals of Ron Siegel Radio. Text NEST, N-E-S-T, to 79564, N-E-S-T to 79564. One of the real estate professionals will get you... Actually, you do it all yourself on Nest. It's a free app. Think about that. It's a free app, no advertising. You find your dream home before somebody else does. You put in the parameters without any interference. Price, location, bedrooms, schools, all that kind of good stuff. And you'll get a text message every time there's a new property comes on the market that fits your parameters. And one of the things you want to know then is where are home prices heading in the next 5 years? Today, many real estate conversations center on housing prices and where they may be headed. That's why I like the Home Price Expectation Survey. Every quarter, Pulseonomics surveys a nationwide panel of over 100 economists, real estate experts, and investment and market strategists about where they believe prices are headed over the next 5 years. Then they average the projections of all 100 plus experts into a single number. The results of their latest survey: home values will appreciate by 4.4% over the course of 2017, 3.4% in 2018, 2.8% in 2019, 2.7% in 2020, and 2.8% in 2021. That means the average annual appreciation will be 3.22% over the next 5 years. The prediction for cumulative appreciation fell from 21.4% to 17.3% by 2021. The experts making up the most bearish quartile of the survey are projecting a cumulative appreciation of 6.3%. That would be the people that are not very optimistic. Think about that part of it. The optimists say 26.7%. Bottom line, individual opinions make headlines. We believe this survey is fairer depiction of future values. And if you're really thinking about that concept, the next place to go with it is, what does that mean for you and your family? If you bought a house, and let's say you put 10% down, I use that number because it's pretty simple, and they're saying that the projection is going to be, 3.22% over the next 5 years. If you put 10% down, that's a 32% return on your cash. 32% over 5 years. You're not going to get that. That's the average annual appreciation. You're not going to get that in the stock market. You're not going to get that in the bond market. Alternative investments are not going to get you that. And the other part is you have to have someplace to live. So think about that concept. 4.4% in 2017. That means 44% is your return on cash if you're looking at a 10% down payment. Now, one of the topics that I wanted to chat with you about today as we look at those numbers is, where are we? If we look historically, what's that mean? Well, we don't have a lot of homes available for sale, so that means prices will go up. I think that if you look at the supply and demand portion, that may be a relatively conservative estimate. Why? Well, because I'm looking at the month's inventory of homes for sale over the last 12 months. December, which in the latest number we have is December of 2017 by the National Association of Realtors. And if you look at every month for the year of 2016, we never got to a normal inventory level. Normal being about 6 months. That means there's an equal number of buyers and sellers. If you've got a 6-month supply of inventory, that's about an equal number of buyers and sellers. The market's pretty much the same. Well, January of last year, we were at 4%, or 4 months. Then we went all the way up to 4.7 in the busy selling months of April, May, and June. And I've got a chart that does show the most listings come on the market in April, May, and June. And we had 4.7 months supply available at that time. Well, right, as of December, the last numbers we had, 3.6 months. November was 3.9 months. So when you've got a minimal amount, or you've got a less than optimal amount of inventory, what do you think is going to happen when you're talking about pricing? Because pricing is always a function of supply and demand. If you've got more demand than there is supply, prices tend to go up. Think about that concept. Now, if you look at the inventory levels, the first 5 months of 2016, January, we had 1.6 million units available for sale. We got all the way up to 1.9 million units. Not a lot of inventory right there. So that's a big, big component. That's why we want you to understand, how much money do you have right now in equity in your property? Have you been thinking about selling your home? And you just look at it and say, you know something, I don't know. I don't think I have enough money to cover commissions and buy a new house and get that extra bedroom we need or get us into the school district we want to be in. Well, the fact of the matter is, in the United States, according to CoreLogic, 93.7% of the homes have positive equity. And in the state of California, 95.2% of the homes have positive equity. 95.2%. Now, we then look and say, okay, what about significant equity? And how do we define significant equity? Because once you've got significant equity, then you have the ability to move if you want to move. You have the ability to go from that 3-bedroom house to a 4-bedroom house. You have ability to go from that 2-bedroom condo to a 3-bedroom single-family home. That's the right place for your kids to go to school at. Well, across the country, 79.1% of the homes have more than 20% equity. And in California, almost 85%. The actual number is 84.6% of the homes have significant equity, greater than 20%. Yet the other side of the coin here is 37% of the people believe they have significant equity. Only 37%. Remember, I shared with you 84.6% of the people in California have significant equity, yet nationwide only 37% of the people believe that they have that kind of equity. What does that mean for you and your family? Well, I know that a lot of people bought homes with a down payment assistance program. That's what we want to focus on today, is those people that bought a house with a down payment assistance. I commend you. You went and said, you know something, I can afford this. And I've got the money for it. I can afford the monthly payment, and who cares what the cost is going to be each month? That's a big issue here, because a lot of people miss this component. They look at it and they say, you know something, I know that it's going to the interest rates in the Freddie Mac mortgage rates are 4.16% right now. I know that. But that's not the major issue for me. The big issue for me is, can I afford the monthly payment? And I had somebody call me from Moreno Valley recently, and they're paying 6.5% on their down payment assistance program. And I looked at that and I said, okay, that's fine. What's the issue? He got into a house. His house is appreciated now since he got that down payment assistance program. That's great also. Now the next step of what we want to look at is, what does that mean for him and his family? Well, what that means for him and his family is, with the way the properties have appreciated, he can restructure that loan and go into a new loan and get rid of some of that payment. How much of the payment can he get rid of? Well, that's the big question. We looked at his financing, and the appraisal hasn't come back yet, but it looks like he's going to probably be able to come back and get a $500 a month savings. $500 a month savings on a starter loan, because he made that phone call to 800-306-1990. We put him in touch with the right people to get him the right information. And we're going to chat more about that when we come back. You're listening to Ron Siegel Radio, discussing your real estate, current events, and the financial markets. Also talk about ways to improve your credit score. 2/3 of Americans aren't putting money into their 401k, and restructuring that down payment assistance loan to save you money. All of that and more. You can reach us anytime. Our off-air number, 800-306-1990. 800-306-1990 or RonSiegelRadio.com. Connect with us, Facebook.com/Ron Siegel Radio, on Twitter @Ron Siegel. And if you miss any part of our broadcast, Shame on you. But the replay is available. Ron Siegel 1 on YouTube. Ron Siegel, the numeral 1 on YouTube. Stay tuned. We'll be back in just a few.
Our house in the middle of a street. Our house.
Siegel Lending Team offers you buying power. Let's say you can afford a monthly mortgage payment, including principal and interest, of around $1,900. With today's rate on a 30-year fixed mortgage of 3.75%, APR 3.85%, that payment could support a $416,000 mortgage. But if you wait and rates tick up to around 6.5%, which is roughly the average home mortgage rate over the past 30 years, that same $1,900 mortgage payment, including principal and interest, may only be able to support a $314,000 mortgage. That's over $100,000 worth of home you're missing out on by waiting. That's buying power. All you need to do to get started is reach out to the Siegel Lending Team at 800-306-1990. That's 800-306-1990. Or visit SiegelLendingTeam.com. That's SIEGEL LendingTeam.com. Payment example excludes taxes and insurance. Call us for full details. 800-306-1990. That's 800-306-1990 or SiegelLendingTeam.com. Equal housing lender. Licensed under NMLS number 217037.
Is your credit score over 800? Are you living in the home of your dreams or simply where you think you can afford? Are you earning a safe, secure 10+% return on your investments? If the answer to any of these questions is no, what are you doing about it? Text ATP to 79564. Complete a 3-minute complimentary survey and the area trusted professionals of Ron Siegel Radio will reach out to you to develop a success strategy for you. Again, all you need to do is text ATP to 79564.
Are you purchasing or own a luxury home? If you're like so many others, your home is your largest asset and the mortgage is your largest debt. The Siegel Lending Team has some amazing financing opportunities right now. Jumbo loans up to $2 million, 30-year rates below 4%, 15-year rates near 3.5%, and if you can believe it, 7-year interest-only hybrids in low 3s. The Siegel Lending Team has all the options for your jumbo or second home loan requirements. Take advantage of them while you can. To learn more about all the other financing products available from the Siegel Lending Team, call 1-800-306-1990. That's 1-800-306-1990. Or visit SiegelLendingTeam.com. That's SIEGEL LendingTeam.com. Again, call 1-800-306-1990. Rates subject to change without notice. Licensed by NMLS ID 217037 and 145502. Equal housing lender.
Do you own real estate or have assets over $150,000? Do you know one of your heirs will be the probate courts and the IRS? If you don't have a living trust, you will go through probate. Call Heritage Financial Services toll-free at 1-855-434-7400 for a free review. Check us out on Facebook, Heritage Financial Service in Lake Forest, California. That's 1-855-434-7400. Again, 1-855-434-7400.
You're listening to Ron Siegel's Home and Finance Show with local and national expert Ron Siegel. Now, here's Ron.
Welcome back to Ron Siegel Radio. Within every market, there are solutions as well as tremendous opportunities. You just need some trusted guidance. That's my message, and as your consumer advocate, I will be delivering it every day on Ron Siegel Radio or anytime at 800-306-1990. 800-306-1990. The Your Credit Matters segment today being brought to you by AskAboutReverseMortgages.com. You have 62%. You have 62 years of age or older with a decent amount of equity in your property. A reverse mortgage might be the right solution for you. Check it out. Check out AskAboutReverseMortgages.com. Ways to improve your credit score. A good credit score goes a long way to a brighter financial future, although credit is not a major consideration in the reverse mortgage. There's still a lack of understanding about what goes into the figure. In a Capital One Credit Confidence study from January, 53% of the 2,300 survey respondents say they are very confident when it comes to understanding credit, and the majority say they know they will be able to improve their credit. Financial advisors counter that they see a lot of misconceptions regarding what helps and hurts a credit score. Misconceptions that may inadvertently lower a person's score. People tend to obsess about the minutiae of credit scores without focusing on the low-hanging fruit, says McBride, a chief financial analyst at Bankrate.com in Palm Gardens, Florida. Pay bills on time. The biggest impact of a person's credit score is on-time payments. The on-time payments make up 35% of a person's credit score and is the largest determining factor. Think about that, 35%. In fact, I'm going to post an article. I'll share that on our pages today about credit scores, because so many people have misconceptions about credit scores and where the credit score comes from and what the components are. 35% is payment history. 30% is the amount owed when you compare that to the line of credit you have. 15% is the length of history. 10% is new credit. That comes from those inquiries you're doing. And 10% is the types of credit used. Now, more credit score facts are 74% of college students don't know their credit score. 18 years is the average consumer's oldest open credit line. 144 million Americans, 33%, have viewed their credit score in the past year. 9 have open credit cards in the average per consumer. 9 credit cards. 20% or less, what's your credit limit? Using more than 20% of your credit limit may lower your credit score. Think about that one. 54% of men, 54% of women, 47% of men said it was important to know a partner's credit score before getting seriously involved. 0 is the percentage your age, race, income, or job title impact your credit score. 0 impact based on those items on your credit score. Think about that concept. So do you want to increase your credit score? Here's the idea: is work on the big items. Work on your 35% payment history, the 30% you owe, and 15%. You can't change the 15 too much other than making sure it is accurate on your credit report. That's the biggie right there. Is it accurate on your credit report? Just a thought for you right there. That is the Your Credit Matters segment, again brought to you by creditsanitizer.com. So we're talking before the break. We're chatting a little bit about that down payment assistance program and where you stand, what's going on in your household, and do you understand the amount of equity that you have in your property? Think about this concept, because we were looking at mortgage rates going up. That we have an idea of going. They're just happening. I'll talk about that in a minute. But the change in prices over the last year, and again, this comes from CoreLogic. California has had a 5.5% appreciation year over year. Total country is 7.1%. So if we look at a 5.5% year-over-year appreciation, and you got into one of those down payment assistance programs where you put little or nothing down, and you've seen a 5% appreciation, well, now the idea is to go and look and say, okay, what can I do about restructuring that? Because there are programs out there that will allow for a 95% loan to value, no mortgage insurance. Now, I'm not saying mortgage insurance is bad, because you have to look at it and say, okay, what are the options? What are the prices? What does Benjamin Franklin have to say about it? Because the only number that matters is Benjamin Franklin. How many Benjamins have to come out of your pocket at the end of every month, at the beginning of each month, to make your mortgage obligation on time? So think about this. If you have mortgage insurance, if you bought with an FHA loan, you've probably got 80 or 85 basis points. It's almost 1% in mortgage insurance. I'm not going to get into the minutia there. There are programs out there now that you've got 5% available as a down payment or as equity that you can cut that in half. There are programs out there where you have no mortgage insurance as long as you have 5% equity. Now, I heard one of the weekend infomercials on big country music station. They're talking about, well, you have to have mortgage insurance if you have less than 20% equity. Well, that's not true. There are programs out there that have no mortgage insurance. Now, are they in your best interest? Well, you got to look at that. That's where the evaluation comes in, and the evaluation of a professional. Not going online and saying, well, I don't like mortgage insurance, so I'm going to do the program without it. Well, who cares? Now, think about this other side of the coin. There are mortgage insurance premium. That is the government program, the FHA Jenny Mae program. And that's got a mandated insurance premium, a mortgage insurance premium. There is private mortgage insurance out there, and there are some that will base it on your credit score. There are some that don't base it on credit scores. There are some that base it on debt to income. Some look at your overall package. But in many instances, you can cut the down payment down, or the mortgage insurance, that private mortgage insurance, could be cut in half. Once again, you have to look at that and see what makes sense to you, what makes sense to your family by cutting that in half or getting rid of it 100%. But there are other processes involved in that. So I don't want you to think that it's just plain and simple. Now, the forecast, again from CoreLogic, 8.6% appreciation in California for this year, 4.7% for the country as a whole. Does that mean you cannot redo it again next year? No. If it makes sense, you need to be working with somebody, a mortgage professional, that's going to review your mortgage statement once a year with you. Every single year, review the mortgage statement. You look at your bank statement every month. You look at your asset statement every month. You look at your 401k or retirement statement every quarter. Yet so many people put their mortgage on set it and forget it. And that's a bigger liability that affects more of your household net worth than anything. And set it and forget it? Really? Just a thought there. Don't do it. I don't recommend that at all. Give me a call. As part of you being a listener of Ron Siegel Radio, we'll adopt your mortgage and get you a free mortgage analysis, what we call a real estate action plan, every single year. Tell you what the value of your property is. It's about a 30-page report. What your equity position is. What does the title show? Did your trust get recorded properly? All that information. Give you a 30-page report. It has all that information on there because you are listening to Ron Siegel Radio discussing your real estate, current events, and the financial markets. When we come back, 2/3 of Americans aren't putting money in their 401k. Is that a good thing or a bad thing? We'll talk about it. You can reach us anytime. Our off-air number, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. Or RonSiegelRadio.com. Connect with us, Facebook.com/Ron Siegel Radio. On Twitter, @Ron Siegel. And again, if you miss any part of our broadcast, Ron Siegel 1. Ron Siegel, the numeral 1 on YouTube. Stay tuned. We'll be back in just a few.
Are you living in the home of your dreams or simply where you think you can afford? Are you earning a safe, secure 10+% return on your investments? Is your credit score over 800? If the answer to any of these questions is no, what are you doing about it? Text ATP to 79564. Complete a 3-minute complimentary survey and the area trusted professionals of Ron Siegel Radio will reach out to you to develop a success strategy for you. Again, all you need to do is text ATP to 79564.
Isn't it time you found out the truth about FHA insured home equity conversion? No, it's not your grandfather's reverse mortgage. This just may be the finest financial planning strategy available for all homeowners of retirement age. Helping protect what you've earned is the job of your board of directors with continued education. Major research has shown that using a HECM will significantly enhance the success rate of a retiree's portfolio and legacy. Please allow us to educate. For your complimentary consultation, call Jay Kaplan
at 949-300-3855. That's 949-300-3855.
Are you currently renting a home? Do you like paying someone else's mortgage payment? Why not explore the options to purchase your own home? Can you imagine a 30-year fixed-rate loan below 4.25% APR? This means with $10,500, you can purchase a $295,000 home and have a principal and interest payment of about $1,400 per month. What are you paying in rent? Does your family deserve the opportunity to take advantage of the current market? To learn more about these exciting opportunities, the Siegel Lending Team is standing by to speak with you. Call now, 1-800-306-1990. That's 1-800-306-1990. Or visit SiegelLendingTeam.com. That's SIEGEL LendingTeam.com. Or 1-800-306-1990. Rate subject to change without notice. Licensed by NMLS ID 217037 and 145502. Equal housing lender. Not endorsed or sponsored by any government agency.
Do you have a goal of mortgage-free home ownership? What if your home was valued at $500,000? Are you aware that a free and clear home could be costing you $2,500 every month, $30,000 per year? The mortgage planners at the Siegel Lending Team would like to show you how you can own your home, generate tax-free income, and accumulate family wealth. You simply need to call the Ron Siegel team at 1-800-306-1990. That is 1-800-306-1990. By sending the team a copy of your most recent mortgage statement, the team will send you a no-obligation real estate plan. You be the judge if this is right for your family. Again, all you have to do is send the team a copy of your mortgage statement by email to reap@ronsiegelradio.com or call today. Ron Siegel, 1-800-306-1990. That is 1-800-306-1990.
Rate subject to change and without notice. Licensed by the California DOC and BRENMLS 217037 and 145502 and Cal BRE 01869452 and 1866775.
You're listening to Ron Siegel's Home and Finance Show with local and national expert Ron Siegel. Now, here's Ron.
Welcome back to Ron Siegel Radio. Within every market, there are solutions as well as tremendous opportunities. You just need some trusted guidance. That's my message, and as your consumer advocate, I will be delivering it every day on Ron Siegel Radio or anytime. At 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. The Word on Wealth segment today being brought to you by Gold Star Mortgage. When you're ready to get that first home, next home, bigger home, smaller home, or you need a veterans loan, debt consolidation, Gold Star has the programs, the products for you. Give me a call at 800-306-1990. I'll be sure to put you in touch with the folks over there. Census Bureau says 2/3 of Americans aren't putting money in their 401k. Americans aren't saving enough for retirement. True, this has been a refrain for longer than many can remember, but now some disturbing numbers show exactly how bad it's gotten. 2/3 of all Americans don't contribute anything to a 401k or other retirement account available through their employer. Millions aren't saving on the job because they either don't have access to a workplace retirement plan or they do but aren't putting money in it. Many just can't spare the cash. But a new analysis shows there are other reasons too. Until now, the exact size of the problem has been unclear. Surveys can be unreliable. Small businesses are difficult to assess, and many workers just don't know what plan options they have, especially if employers aren't making such much effort to sign them up. Information on a 401k may be part of a stack of paperwork handed out on the employee's first day that they don't read or understand and ultimately set aside and never think about again. Now the U.S. Census Bureau researchers have come up with estimates that rely on tax data, which should be more reliable than surveys. Their conclusion, only about 1/3 of the workers are saving in a 401k or similar tax-deferred retirement plan. Also, the gap is far wider than expected between the number of employers offering retirement plans and the number of workers saving in them. Only 14% of employers offer plans. Census researchers Michael Gideon and Joshua Mitchell analyzed W-2 tax return records from 2012 to identify 6.2 million unique employers and 155 million individual workers who held 219 million distinct jobs. This data produced estimates starkly different from previous surveys. For example, previous estimates suggested more than 40% of private sector employers sponsored a retirement plan. Tax records uncovered a much bigger pool of small businesses, showing that overall just 14% of all employers with a 401k or other defined contribution plan to their workers. Bigger companies are likeliest to offer 401k plans since they employ more people than small firms. That skews the overall number of U.S. workers who have the option. Gideon and Mitchell estimate 79% of Americans work at places that sponsor a 401k style plan. The good news is that more than 20 points higher than previous estimates. The bad news is just 41% of workers at those employers are making contributions to such a plan, more than 20 points lower than previous estimates. The demise of the pension. Census researchers are still studying the tax data, cross-referencing it with other databases to get a fuller picture of how Americans are saving. For example, researchers are using retirement plan filing documents to get a better sense of how many workers are still covered by traditional pensions, also known as defined benefit plans. According to a Pew Charitable Trust analysis of survey data released February 15th, only 10% of workers over age 22 have a traditional pension. Just 6% of millennials have a pension, while 13% of baby boomers do. House moves to block an auto enrollment. California, Oregon, Illinois, Maryland, and Connecticut have started programs designed to encourage workers to save. Employers in those states would be required to either offer a retirement plan or automatically enroll their workers in a state-sponsored individual retirement account. The states had the blessing of the Obama administration, which issued rules allowing states and even large cities to create portable retirement accounts if they want. On February 15th, however, the U.S. House of Representatives voted to rescind those rules, echoing the arguments of the financial industry. Republicans argued that state auto-enrollment plans constitute unfair competition to the financial industry. If the Republican-controlled U.S. Senate and President Trump also signed off, any state and city auto-IRA plans would be placed in jeopardy. Whatever the outcome, any effort to get workers to save for retirement faces daunting challenge. Can Americans spare the money? Student debt and auto loans are at record levels, according to the Federal Reserve data released February 16th, and overall consumer debt is rising at the fastest pace in 3 years. I've shared with you many times, there are some better options than the 401k. The 401k is geared to take your money and charge you more at a later date. That's what the idea of the 401k is, or the IRA. There are much, much better options. I would highly recommend you give us a call at 800-306-1990. I don't sell any of those options, but I certainly can put you in touch with the people that have those available. Again, give me a call, 800-306-1990. I'll put you in touch with the right people to get on these different programs that are available. So we've been chatting today about the idea of that down payment assistance program. Now, if you're looking at buying a house and you need help with down payment assistance, there are options for that down payment assistance. It's there. You have to understand, though, there is no free lunch. So even though you have these down payment assistance programs, how do they work? Well, basically what happens is they increase the interest rate on these programs. Then you're able to get some money back from the bond issue that they're putting these into, which helps you with the down payment. But remember, I said they increase the interest rate. So you're actually paying for it over time. What they're banking on is the idea that you're not going to restructure your loan, and they're going to get that money back through the increased interest rate. They're going to sell those loans on the open market because they have actuarial tables that tell them how long people are going to keep their loans. We know in this country it's about 5 years, 5.2 years. The last data that I saw is how long people are keeping their loan. We know they're keeping their homes for 10 years. They're refinancing in that interim when they see that it makes sense for them. And a lot of that goes back to the same things I was talking to you about earlier, is that people just don't realize how much equity they have in their property until they go and restructure their loan. They say, well, I just redid my loan. I don't want to do it again, and I don't want to have to go through the hassle of that. But how much hassle is it worth if you're going to save $500 a month, as one listener is doing out there in the Inland Empire? $500 a month, $6,000 a year. And as a listener to Ron Siegel Radio, our friends over at Gold Star Mortgage will pay all of your lender fees. They can't help the third-party fees, but they're going to cover all of your lender fees, so you'll have to pay absolutely nothing in lender fees. And that way, if rates go down again, you don't have to worry. You're covered, because they'll redo that again for you because you're a listener of Ron Siegel Radio. Think about that concept, and make sure you set that first radio preset button to come back here every day to join Ron Siegel Radio, where we only speak about items affecting your house and your bank account. Thanks to all of our sponsors. A big thanks to John, who's engineering us today. And, of course, a special thanks to you for spending a little bit of your day with us. That's all for Ron Siegel Radio. Again, if you have any questions or to meet any of our guests, call me anytime. 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, or ronsiegelradio.com. And remember, make a lot of money, help a lot of people, have a lot of fun. Have a great day. We'll talk to you next time on Ron Siegel Radio.